Boom. Hello everyone and welcome to our roundtable session. We're focusing on a first-time investor in rental properties or multifamily. So key thing is introductions.
Hi, how's everybody doing today? My name is Adam Trotter. I'm with My Four Brokers. I'm a real estate agent with Coldwell Banker Bain in Kirkland.
And I'm Jeff Affronti with Coldwell Banker Bain as well, and Northwest Multi-Door Group.
I'm Howard Bohr, and I'm also with Northwest Multi-Door Group with Coldwell Banker as well.
I'm Justin Jenkins, real estate agent with My Four Brokers, as your host and your nervous first investor. Be easy on me. Okay, so,
Nah.
like again, how dare you? So, my viewpoint is, again, first time investor, young, or I'm new into the game, and I'm thinking about Seattle, East Side, Bellevue kind of area because I hear where you want to invest is where it's hot, where it's happening. Things are just exploding, and I want in on that piece of that change because I want to make money fast.
Yep.
I don't know if that's the right approach or not. We'll find out very soon. So key thing is, there's a scenario, there's the play, multifamily versus residential. Can we start with?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think one of the things that we learn when we're looking at real estate gurus and how to invest in multifamily or even how to invest in homes to flip. I think one of the things that a lot of the gurus do well is they give you kind of a high line view of some of the processes. But then when they talk about that you should be finding deals in a good area where the returns are exponential, one of the things that I know that I thought was, where are the hot areas? Where is the growth expanding exponentially? And you tend to think of the most popular cities in your area. For us here in the Northwest, it's Seattle, Bellevue. You got Kirkland. You've got all these surrounding areas, Renton, Bothell, all that type of stuff. But sometimes, as a first-time investor, those may not be quite the best places to start.
Yeah.
So what's usually the best place to start then?
So, well, what I recommend usually is looking outside the box. So everybody's looking in the core areas around Kirkland and Bellevue, Mercer Island, Seattle, of course. And there's not a lot of inventory to start with on the east side, but there's other areas that are attractive. So you go up to Everett, you go south, you go to Tacoma, you go south of there, you go in the peripheral areas. And you look for areas that have good employment. You got to factor in some things like crime and that, but it depends on what your ability to buy is, how much investment you have, how much capital.
So let me play the scenario then. So if I, again, fresh on my feet, maybe how much capital, what's the best approach? Maybe I'm able to afford residential, but maybe is there another opportunity? So for example, like, is there a triplex in my future, or can we build off of that as one pathway as introducing you to this kind of investing field?
So I think that in that case, if it's like your first time and you're getting into it, I think you need to develop a team. To be honest with you, I think you need to reach out to a real estate professional. You need to reach out to investors that you potentially might be working with for your capital. If you don't have capital, reach out to a mortgage lender or a financial advisor as well. Because, like Howard was saying, if you don't understand what your purchasing power is, you're not going to be successful. I mean, I think there's a lot of like gurus that Jeff was saying that they set up like a large overview and like this is like the tell-all of like, hey, you use other people's money to purchase a home, but you're still going to have some skin in the
If
game.
I can do it, you can.
Yeah, exactly. No, like I think you need to have more skin in the game. I think you need to have the knowledge behind you. So why not reach out to those professionals?
They're overly generic on what your buying power could be or would be, and every area is different, and it's based on the availability of inventory, the value of the inventory. Other parts of the country, you can buy a multifamily project for $200,000, but here, it's probably starting off at about $1 million in a decent area. There are areas around in Washington that you can still buy something for a couple $100,000. And you can find owner financing. You can be creative. There's those things that are still in play. Not so much around here.
And I think that's part of the challenge of a high growth area as well. With high growth brings a lot more demand for for very few items on the market. So when we're talking about the key areas, typically those cap rates, which are your returns, will be a lot lower and your debt is a lot higher. So it may not pay for itself and it could not be a good strategy.
So what's kind of, I'll say, I know there's a lot of factors involved, but what are kind of 3 key things that are important, like within a city, government involvement, what's taxes, what is there kind of those 3 key facts that if I ask you for 3, I think there's enough information that we can provide to give like factors involved in that. That makes sense?
Yeah.
I would say like for me, and if you guys just jump in here, right? So I think understanding your capital is one of the top 3 that you really need to have. Because if you don't have that, then what's your purchasing
What do you mean
power?
by that? What do you mean by capital?
By capital, like how much money you have to actually purchase the property. That's what I mean by that. And if you don't have that, then who do you need to reach out to gain that capital to purchase that first multifamily property, right? So that's why I think you need to understand your finance. You need to understand your money first.
Yeah.
Also, is it one? I'm sorry to jump in.
No, go ahead.
Another factor is like you can, for say it's a duplex, triplex, quadplex, you can live in one. Are you willing to live in one and go that route as an opportunity? Like, is that a good?
That's a possibility, and that's part of being creative, is to where you fit on your first time purchase. If you've never owned a home, this is a great way to start, because why not let the other people, your tenants, pay your mortgage? And the other thing you got to factor in though is what the standard is that you want to live with, and is it going to be in an area that will work for you as the investor. Now around here you might not be able to pull that off, but you for the most part, when you buy on the east side or in Seattle, you're looking at appreciation as opposed to cash flow. So that's that would be one of my points.
So would you say
strategy, what your station in life is? Do you want to live in the place where you have your tenants?
Do you want to be a landlord?
Do you want to be a landlord?
Yeah.
And what's more important to you, the appreciation or the cash flow? And to be honest, as a first-time purchaser, you're probably not going to achieve that much cash flow.
Yeah.
It's a stepping stone to the next level.
I think that's one thing to think about that mindset. It's like looking long term as a focus. So like some solid key points there. I want to go back to you, Charlie, because you still have, what other thoughts do you have on this before?
I think we just need a third one, right? So I'd say financing, and then do you want to be a landlord would be like third. Like what's your strategy, right?
Yeah.
What would you say the third one would be?
It's almost like a business plan, just kind of
Yeah,
talking
exactly.
about
It is a business.
So
Yeah.
it is a business. So you want to know where your entry point is. You want a future plan. You want short-term and long-term plans, and then ultimate goals. I mean, it could be, a 200-room apartment complex could be your end game, or
How to
and
reverse
do you
engineer
get
it. Because thinking is like you
Absolutely.
can't jump in a sea properly, right? You gotta make sure you have your big old boat. You make sure you have all your food supply. So, for example, I talking about a 200 like an apartment complex. That's gonna be reality says this, okay, but here's a pathway because it's still possible.
Yeah.
What are you willing to sacrifice to be able to accomplish that, and how to build that team?
That's the exact way to phrase it. Is what are you willing to sacrifice? So if you want to live in it, you're not going to obviously get this luxury mansion and then as a fourplex. It's going to be an apartment style building most likely. And again, it depends on what you have for capital to purchase, your buying power. And so, but let's be generic and say it's entry level. And so that, are you willing to sacrifice the luxuries of maybe you can afford a higher end house by yourself, but of course that's your investment is the house. You're hoping for some appreciation, it's a roof over your head. Whereas an apartment would be the sacrifice, rich man, poor man thing, where you may have the wealth, you're not going to show it off.
Yeah.
No.
Also, when you're taking a look at living in a particular, let's say a duplex, you're looking in that urban growth area, okay? And when you're first starting out, you really need to be in a place where you can make some mistakes and it's not going to cost you a lot of money. It's not going to put you under.
Oh yeah.
And that's a really big key to this, because a lot of us, when we want to start something new, we want to start at the very either in the middle or at the very top. That's just the way human nature is.
Yeah.
We think that we can just go right in and it's an instant success. So if you go in where you are, where you stand, you will start learning and building your wealth at the ground level so that you can eliminate a lot of those mistakes in the future.
So I would pose a question to you guys because we're trying to get three points, right? So would you say the third one is understanding your position would be the third point? Like, so we would have financing, strategy, and understanding your position.
Yeah, and there's understanding your position, understanding what you're buying.
Yeah.
Doing your research, being comfortable with all of that, and not overbuying. This is a common problem too. You got to make sure that you can swing if you've got a vacancy. You can't count on 100% occupancy all the time. Even if it's a duplex, you're going to be
Covering more of your
covering more.
mortgage
So you
than-
want to have a reserve.
Mm-hmm.
You need a reserve for repairs. You've got to have the wherewithal. And are you capable of handling those repairs? If not yourself, do you have the wherewithal to afford to hire somebody to do those
So
things in a manner that will be acceptable to your tenant?
I think it brings it into that point of where you are in your business.
Mhm.
Okay, so when you're first starting out, you don't have your teams. Okay, you're just yourself. So what you need to do, like Adam said, was get yourself a real estate agent, get yourself a finance guy, get yourself all the services that you need around you to help you make educated decisions, so that you're just not alone in this process, because you're really not. And that's why it pays to have professionals around you that specialize in these things.
Ending on a note, so what's one thing you can bring and value for as we wrap this up for our potential viewers who are wanting to invest? So what's one key thing that you? I know we talked a lot, but see what else maybe we haven't brought up, or
Oh, man.
maybe it's repeating the same thing. There's nothing wrong with that, because the key with this is that everything saying is going to be consistently repeated, because that's just ingrained in us to learn how to do this the correct
So I would
way.
say,
So
the one takeaway that you can get from this video, from my perspective, is interview your team. Yeah, that would be for me.
I'd say part of that interview process as well is what is your philosophy. So when you are working with an agent, their philosophy, if like Northwest Multi-Door Group, when our philosophy moving forward is we are constantly searching for deals that we would buy ourselves,
Yeah.
as well as we want to include as many people across the finish line as we can, because there's more reward in bringing people along and getting people excited about the process, about taking control of your financial future. It's just it's so much more rewarding when you can teach someone new like you and get those aha moments and help them along the process, so that we are now collaborators as well as your investor network.
Yeah.
We can work together in the future.
Yeah, we're in it for the long term. We're not looking. It's not just about the money that we make. It's about building the relationship and making sure that we find you the best investment. And and we would, as a broker, we are looking out hopefully for your best interest, and that's what you need in anybody you're going to work with, that is looking out for your interest, can communicate well with you, and that you get along with. It's going to be a long process, even if it's just one transaction. Hopefully, it's a lot of transactions in the future.
It's a team member.
So would you say that trust would be your
Trust, trust and integrity, and even if you've got that, you still need to be able to have the communication with that person. They've got to be part of it. You've got to operate as a team, not as just a broker, salesperson, guy that
Getting
you're not just a number. That's it.
Yeah,
You're not
Getting
it's
just a number.
not
Getting
just
numbers.
not calling and saying that's my realtor. He's part of my team.
Yeah.
And you refer to him. That's Howard, my realtor,
Yeah.
or Jeff, or Adam, and it's just that's it's a we're looking for a long-term deal
Yeah.
with you.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Totally agree.
Thank you for your time, and hopefully bring a lot of value. If you have any questions, comments below, please let us know what else we can bring value for our next videos in the future. Appreciate it, and we are signing off.
Bye.
Yep.